Please welcome John Deaton.
To each and every delegate, thank you. To my campaign team, every donor, every volunteer, thank you. To my daughters, Olivia, Jordan, Layla, I love you more than words. To my stepkids, Jackson, Mackenzie, and my beloved Christy, thank you. I accept your nomination. Now, when I tell people that I'm running in Massachusetts as a Republican, sometimes they smirk and say, "You sure you know what you're doing, John?" I do. One-party rule is hurting people, and when people hurt bad enough, the R and the D become a lot less important than rent and the electric bill. Now, the media, they love to ask me, "What kind of Republican are you, John? Are you a Charlie Baker Republican? Or are you a Donald Trump Republican?" I'm a John Deaton Republican, and I bring something unique to the table. I was born into poverty, a single mother on welfare and food stamps, a dad who abandoned us, living in one of the worst neighborhoods in all of America. At 6, I saw my mom get stabbed in a mugging. At 9, a child predator began abusing me. At 17, my best friend Derek died in my arms, shot 4 times. My first day of high school, I had a gun shoved in my mouth. The next day, I was a high school dropout, just like everyone else in my family before me. Heck, I even beat cancer, but I had something going for me. I lived in the greatest country the world has ever seen, a country where your birth doesn't have to dictate your fate, where hard work, grit, determination, you could determine your fate. So make no mistake, when you look at me on this stage, you are looking at the American dream, not the slogan, the thing itself. So no, I'm not a Charlie Baker Republican. No, I'm not a Donald Trump Republican. I'm just John Deaton, and I'm proud to be your nominee. Now let me tell you why I'm proud, but not with talking points, with history. When I think of being a Republican, I think of Lincoln signing the Emancipation Proclamation. I think of Frederick Douglass, born into slavery, beaten, sold. He didn't curse the Declaration of Independence. He demanded America live up to it. And he chose to believe in this country, and he called the Republican Party the party of freedom and progress, because it was. I think of Hiram Revels, who in 1890 became the first black U.S. senator, sitting in the same seat as Jefferson Davis, the president of the Confederacy. The first black man to become a senator sat in the same chair as a man who fought to keep him a slave. That is American history at its most powerful. I think of Teddy Roosevelt. Teddy Roosevelt, whose America looked a lot like ours today. A rampant Washington corruption, monopolies, all these things. And you know what Roosevelt understood? That capitalism doesn't fix itself when the powerful rig the system. You save capitalism not by protecting the powerful, but by making it honest. So he busted the trust, broke up the monopolies, and said every American, the worker, the farmer, the small business owner deserves a square deal, not a rigged deal. When I think of being a Republican, I think of 1957. 9 black kids trying to walk through the front door of Central High School in Arkansas. The Democrat governor sent the National Guard to block them, and it was a Republican, Eisenhower, who sent the 101st Airborne to walk those kids to class. Once again, a Republican standing for the forgotten. I think of Ronald Reagan, who saw a nation that had lost faith in itself, and he looked that nation in the eye and he said, it's morning in America again. And I think of Jack Kemp, a Republican senator who believed equal economic opportunity was a civil right. And he took that message into communities that had never seen a Republican before. And he talked about enterprise zones and tax credits and home ownership, real economic freedom for all people. Kemp understood, like Roosevelt, that Republicans must protect and make certain the very idea of what makes America so great and so unique, that a free market, honestly run, gives an ordinary person an extraordinary chance. People like me, and that's the America I believe in. Kemp believed that Republicans should compete for every vote, and so do I. That's why you'll see me in Brockton, and Roxbury, and Lawrence, and Holyoke, and Mattapan. We're not going to write anyone off, not a single voter, not a single zip code. When I think of being a Republican, I think of my daughters, women. It was Republicans who gave women the right to vote. I think of civil rights, the acts of 1866 and 1875 passed by Republicans. The 1964 Act passed with more Republican votes than Democrats. When I think of being a Republican, I think of Latino voters, Black voters, working families, and I say to them, the Democrat Party has taken your vote for granted. They act as though your loyalty is owed to them. History suggests otherwise. I say, make us all earn your vote. We as Republicans believe in the dignity of every individual, not the power of the collective. We believe in the rule of law, not the rule of the most powerful. And we believe in earned success, not assigned outcomes. And we believe in accountability, especially those in power. So Ed Markey, Maura Healey, Andrea Campbell, Ron Mariano, and Karen Spilka, where the hell is our audit? So that's where we come from. Now let me tell you where we are today. There is a generation of young people working 2 jobs, not to save for retirement, not to buy a house, to keep the lights on. A teacher here in Worcester, a nurse in Springfield, a construction worker in Quincy. They did it everything right. They went to school, they worked hard, they played by the rules, and they cannot afford to live here. Hell, they can't afford to get sick. Massachusetts is in trouble. Housing costs are 106% above the national average. Electricity, highest in the nation. Childcare, highest in the nation. 1.1 million people on food stamps. And the result, we lead the nation in people leaving this state. And it's not because of bad luck. It's not because of COVID. It's because of one-party rule, right? New Hampshire, Texas, Tennessee, Florida, thriving. Ed Markey and Maura Healey should be heroes in those states. They're the best thing that happened to those states. Listen, Ed Markey has been in office for 53 years. Look, people, it's clear, I'm not a young man. But when Ed Markey first got elected, I was 6. Gas was 59 cents a gallon. Tickets at Fenway were $1.25. Harvard tuition, room and board was $5,000. Okay? And listen, Massachusetts is paying the price. We pay 33 cents for electricity. You want to know what Ed Markey pays in Chevy Chase, Maryland, where he lives? 16 cents. We pay more than double. He writes the policy, you pay it. He doesn't live here. He hasn't lived here for 30 years. Check his water bill. The city of Malden charges him the legal minimum allowed, $8 to $12 a month, because not a single faucet is on. Housing affordability, we're dead last in the country. Maryland, where Ed Markey lives, second best in the nation. 53 years in office, and the people of this state have to choose between medicine and food. I think it's time we elect someone who puts people before party. I think it's time we elect someone who puts truth before politics. Look, everyone, people are losing hope. I see it. I've been there. Listen, God gave me some challenges, but he gave me this superpower called hope. The firm belief that tomorrow will bring a better day. And I fought harder and dug down deeper and never quit, and it got better for me, and it can get better for Massachusetts. It can, okay? On health care, there's 3 insurance companies that control over 90% of our health care. That's not real capitalism. We need a Teddy Roosevelt approach. I've been fighting for insurance companies in court for 30 years. I'll do it in the Senate. Listen, my very first bill in the United States Senate, tell me if you hear something you like, term limits. Single issue bills. Okay. No more insider trading. How about this? Congress doesn't pass a budget, Congress doesn't get paid. Congress shuts the government down, Congress doesn't get paid. We got to get a seat at the table. The only way we get a seat at the table is by uniting. Listen to me. If you're more conservative than me, sit next to me, please, at the table. If you're more moderate, sit on the other side. We have to unite. We have to unite. And listen to all the independents out there and Democrats out there. They're disenfranchised. I'm not running to push ideology on anyone. People aren't looking for ideology. They're looking for someone to help solve their problems. 1/3 of our budget comes from the federal government. I believe the U.S. Senate seat's the most important race. No disrespect to the governor's race. I'll tell you why. A Republican governor is going to face a supermajority on day one. I can operate in Washington outside that supermajority, fighting for those federal funds that make 1/3 of our budget, for money for infrastructure, for housing, for nuclear energy, for health care. Okay, one-party rule always ends the same. Arrogance, corruption, a political class that stops being accountable for the people it serves. 72% voted for the state legislature audit. Beacon Hill said no. They're telling you to your face that they only answer to themselves. Where's Ed Markey on the audit? When you've been in part of the club that long, you protect the club. A senator who knows that he can be replaced works harder, listens better, never forgets where he came from. Sending me to Washington doesn't mean you agree with every Republican in the White House for those independents and out there. It just means you're sending someone who will listen to you finally, and I will. Teddy Roosevelt said that credit belongs to the man in the arena whose face is marred with dust, sweat, blood, who at worst failed, daring greatly. I've been in the arena all my life. I'm asking you to join me. It all started here with the shot heard around the world, the cradle of liberty, where the fight for freedom first began. It begins here again. Okay, if you believe that Massachusetts can do better, join me. If you're tired of choosing between the electric bill and grocery bill, join me. If you're an independent or Democrat who's never voted Republican, but you're sick of the status quo, join me. Because most of us believe in the same things, I'm telling you. Most of us believe in lower taxes for working families so they can keep more of what they earn. Most of us believe in less government overreach so small businesses can thrive and parents can raise their kids their way. Most of us believe in freedom and innovation in a country where hard work still matters. That's not even a Republican platform, it's an American platform. People are looking for solutions, and we have them. Tax relief, deregulation, school choice, common sense energy policy, innovation, real economic growth. We deliver that message, we win. Listen, everyone, change does not begin by winning an election. It begins by believing you can win, and I believe we can win, but I need you to believe it too. And join me, united. But we gotta go old school. We gotta knock on every door, not just the folks who we agree with. Listen to the mom worried about rent, the dad fed up with energy prices, the worker tired of seeing his job leave the state. And together, united, we can make Massachusetts affordable again. Thank you. God bless you. God bless Massachusetts. And God bless the United States of America.